Division?
Yes, we're good. Yes, sir.
It is 1:31, and we'll go ahead and call this full policy board to order. Item number 2, roll call.
Good afternoon, everyone. For the record, this meeting was posted to the Secretary of State's website and our website on Thursday, the 18th at 5:07. Roll call. Hidalgo County,
Present.
City of Bronzeville,
Present.
Cameron County, City of McAllen, City of Edinburgh, City of Mission, City of Harlingen, City of FAR, Stark County, City of San Benito, Cameron County RMA, Hidalgo County RMA, Valley Metro, TxDOT, Forum. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Item number 3, public comments. Did anybody sign up for public comments? No, sir. Don't believe nobody online?
No.
To raise their
Nobody.
hand. All right, we'll move on to item number 4. Action and discussion items. A, approval of minutes for March 27th, 2024. The minutes were included in your package. Does anybody have any corrections or modifications to the minutes? There being none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by San Benito, second by Valley Metro. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Yeah, McAllen just. Item B, discussion and action on Wesco Loop RFP Subcommittee score. Mr. Cantu.
Good afternoon, tech members. Policy board members. This is an action item. The item that I'm bringing up to right now is for the Wesco Loop corridor study. We had we had 2 applicants submit an application during our RFP. It was Etsy and Tedzy. Our subcommittee came together and scored them. On the screen, as you can see, Etsy received a 92.6 and Tedzy received an 85.9. TAC recommended to proceed with Etsy as the scores are shown above. And this is, like as mentioned, this is an action item. And what would the board would like to proceed with which candidate?
And the Technical Advisory Committee unanimously approved Etsy.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Cameron County RMA, second by City of FAR. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Letter C, discussion and possible action regarding Category 7 utilization and carryover. Eva?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So I feel like I've kind of covered this subject a little bit, but I think it's a really important topic that is critical for everyone to understand. So we're going to walk through it one more time, or as many times as we need to, because this really impacts the MPO's funds and project delivery. So in January 17th of this year, the Texas Transportation Commission passed Minute Order 116630 to amend 2 sections in the Texas Administrative Code. And the sections are right before you. They affect the Unified Transportation Program and the Transportation Allocation Funding formulas. To dive deeper into what was revised in the Texas Administrative Code, you'll see under category allocations and category 2, the Texas Transportation Commission did clarify that their intent for category 2 funding is for priority projects determined by the MPO. Additionally, carryover adjustments were amended, and there's now a prescription for an annual review of Category 5 and Category 7 carryover to address potential underutilization of funding. The Category 7 specifically is what affects us because we don't receive Category 5. But if any MPO in the state of Texas carries over more than 200% of its Category 7 allocation, then TxDOT can reduce the district MPO's Category 2 carryover by an equivalent amount and transfer that amount to the district's Category 11, which is district discretionary allocation for safety projects. Now, this is going to be an annual assessment, and the Texas Department of Transportation will report to the commission and notify impacted MPOs. And it also clarifies that this carryover redistribution does not constitute a major change. So again, it's a report and notify situation. One really critical piece to all of this is that federal funds are intended to lapse or expire within 4 years of allocation. So let's look at fiscal year 24, which we're currently in. In fiscal year 24, we had an allocation amount of $32.74 million. Our fiscal year 23 carryover is $115 million. Now that's because fiscal year 23 carryover carries any funding from the last 3 years, the prior 3 years, and the fourth year is the fiscal 24 allocation. So with those fiscal year 24 allocation and the fiscal year 23 carryover, we have a revised allocation of $147.74 million. Now in January, at the time, we had about 25.14 million scheduled to obligate, scheduled to be used and utilized. That would make our remaining allocation 122.6 million. Now that remaining allocation becomes fiscal year 24 carryover. So when we divide the fiscal year 24 carryover by the fiscal year 24 allocation, we'll see that we have essentially 3.74 years of funding that we're carrying over as the RGVMPO. Now, you can look and compare us to other MPOs in the district, but essentially we have really high carryover. The threshold per the Texas Administrative Code is 200%. So when we have 122.6, our 200% is equal to 65.48 million. That's 200%. So 174%, everything over the 200% threshold equals $52.12 million. So that is what we have at risk to transfer if we do not increase our utilization and decrease our carryover. So you'll hear me say that a lot. I've been saying increase utilization, decrease carryover. That's the name of this game. And last month, I think it was Mayor Garza asked us what were the past year's utilization rates. So we at the MPO do receive federal transaction reports from TxDOT, I think on a monthly basis. And Melanie generally looks over them, and she's been monitoring them for a while. We talk about them pretty frequently, and I hadn't really thought about looking into the past until that question was asked. So when we look at it and I plug in all the numbers, and these are actual numbers, these aren't estimates. The numbers we were talking about before, they're projections, they're estimates because we're still in fiscal year 24. These are past years, so these are locked down. This is what happened. You'll see every single year what our fiscal year allocation is, what the previous fiscal year carryover is, and this matches what our remaining allocation is. So in 2019, our remaining allocation was 52 million. That becomes the previous year's carryover. And you'll see that again, and you'll see that again, just so you can see how these numbers connect. When we add A plus B, that gives us the revised allocation for that fiscal year. Then when we look at D, that is the projects that we actually obligated and scheduled. So in 2019, we spent $39 million, whereas in 2023, we spent $6.79 million. And when we look at the remaining allocation, we can determine our utilization rate. So we had really, really low utilization rates. Right now, our utilization rate is 17%, or it was estimated in January. We're going to talk about how this has changed. But in 2019, our utilization rate was 42.93%. Then it went down in 2020 to 11.2%. It went up in 2021 to 16.77%, still under the 17%. Then it went back down to 11.69%. And then it came all the way down in 2023 to 6% utilization rate. So again, we're carrying over a lot of dollars year after year since the merger has occurred. And I can't go back to other years. But I wanted to make one thing clear, and that's why it's in purple. Sorry, go ahead.
Just real quick, is this just category 7 or is
This is just category STPMM
Thank you.
specifically, yes. So one thing about these numbers is They have all phases, not just construction. So you'll see this fiscal year 23 carryover here is $106 million. But when we look at the slide before, there you go, we had 115. So that is just with construction. But when we incorporate the other phases, we had 106. Go ahead.
Sorry, one more question. On total used, are you actually just looking at like the sum of monthly billings for the year? Or the actual issuance of a letting contract and the entire construction amount?
The number comes from what is written in your FPAA, which I think is Federal Project Authorization Agreement. So the amount is not through your letting or your bidding, because we know LGs cover 100% of overruns, but what's contracted and authorized through the federal government in the FPAA.
For the entire project?
For the entire project. It's whatever is going to be federally reimbursed, and it includes your 80-20. But if you as a local government pay 30% of your total project cost, it's really only showing you the 20% investment, if that makes sense. And again, this number for the past years is all phases. What we look at what we're being assessed, it's construction only. And what we've been doing in the project readiness is the construction only dollar amount. And I can show that to you here in a little bit. But we're still meeting with Finn regularly, and we're still going through this process. So this is just the update of where we've come from. So again, that was a question last month. These are the numbers. You can see where we were in the past and where we're at now. We did meet on March 28th with the TxDOT division, our FAR district friends, and then the staff at the MPO. And we did clarify that the utilization comes from that FPAA, and your utilization equals obligation equals FPAA. And then it's the total sum of all phases per CSJ that's written in the FPA. Those are the amounts that actually count. So we're going through some exercises right now, and we discussed with the FINDA's vision that they'll develop their utilization estimates, we'll develop our utilization estimates and our project list, and we should be able to compare our calculation methodologies to better understand these rates and our carryover. Go ahead, Mr. Parker.
This may be for Pete or you. Where are these funds sitting? Are they not sitting at the federal government and they haven't even came to our bank account? Or is the TxDOT sitting on these funds?
As a reimbursement program, I'm pretty sure that they're at the federal government waiting for us to get to the reimbursement phase.
So each one of these phases, whether it's, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Pete.
Yes, that is exactly right. It is a reimbursement process. So basically, TxDOT would utilize state funds to, initially, and then we would request a reimbursement from the federal government at a later time. The whole idea here is making sure that we are taking full advantage and expending the funding. Do you mind going to the next slide? I think it was, because you brought up a point that I think is critical here. If you look at that second bullet, PE right away and CE are also counting towards this overall balance. And so obviously as soon as we can get the PE and the right of way acquired, we start showing progress, and we would be in a position to have shovel-ready projects to then go into construction. So all this is interconnected, and want to ensure that all phases of a project are part of the overall budget allocation and taking full advantage of those opportunities.
But to expand on that, and forgive me for the technicality of this. So you have the PE, the right of way, and the construction are all different, and they probably span over 3 or 4, maybe 5, 6 years. So when does that FPA utilization get recorded? Is it by phase in its entirety, or is it? Because I mean, you're looking at payments over a course of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So for example, on right of way, sometimes right of way acquisition could take 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, we have projects over 150 parcels. It takes time, but it is imperative that we at TxDOT for certain projects, and then obviously the local governments, prioritize projects that require right-of-way acquisition where we have already given the release. In other words, there's some projects that are still in the pipeline as far as getting those releases. But once TxDOT says right-of-way acquisition, you're allowed to proceed, the local government needs to jump and get that right-of-way acquired.
But what amount is recognized as utilized? Like, once we start right-of-way acquisition, does the entire allotment of right-of-way get
No, it's
recognized?
only- It's actually reimbursed.
So that was my question earlier is, do you recognize it as we use it and as we spend it? and as
So-
we get reimbursed as opposed to a full allocation of the entire
Yeah,
project, right?
It would be great if it was the full thing, because we started a project, we get full credit.
Right.
But in this case, that's not the,
So it's really only going to be utilized as we advance projects and we actually get them through construction.
and you start looking at it at that type of balance, that is an area that is concerning to us at TxDOT, that we haven't been able to acquire right away in a timely manner.
And just to kind of clarify further on that, it's per CSJ. So if you have a CSJ for just right of way, then we can obligate that money and reflect it sooner. Whereas if your right of way is in the same CSJ as your construction, then it probably gets marked at construction. And if you remember in the past, I've shown the flow chart with the 4-step process, right? It's the allocation or appropriation to programming, which we have to have fiscally constrained. So there's like there's 3 levels that we monitor the funding. It's at programming to make sure we're fiscally constrained and we have all our money programmed in the right projects. Then it's the obligation, which is where we're at here with utilization. Then it's reimbursement. So you're completely right that our obligation numbers may not equate to reimbursement numbers because there's a lot of ways to trip up over the red tape and to not successfully reimburse all of your dollars. And the money isn't in the valley until we get the reimbursement check. So I think that this is something that we're starting to monitor long term and the full process, whereas maybe before it was just programming and we were like stuck in programming. Now we're getting into obligation and we really, Melanie and I talk about it all the time, we want to get into the reimbursement where we know that those dollars are coming in. And we're starting to ask questions like, how do we know how much is reimbursed monthly? Because it's a different number than obligation.
So wouldn't it make sense then for us to have CSJs separate for right-of-way so that they're recognized more quickly?
PAAs are for each phase. So we have an FPA
Oh,
for
okay.
right-of-way,
Good to know.
PE, and for construction. And so that's already being done. One of the things that we also need to consider is the obligation is money's committed, right, for a project. A challenge is, for all of us, is if a project is in construction or the project says in right away and money has been obligated for it, for that particular project, our ability to continue to purchase is somewhat hindered until we spend or we put that money to use and purchase that right away, which then enables us to go to the next project and ask for more money. If a project has been obligated and we haven't used it, it's very difficult to get additional advances. So that's why it's important to not only to obligate committed doing the FPA, it's obligated committed, but actually do the acquisition and reimburse. The same could be said for construction. I can give you a project examples where a project is in construction and it was supposed to take 3 years to build. It took 5 years. Well, those extra 2 years are counting towards our ability to let more. And so that's where we all have a challenge to deliver sooner.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm sure that Eva still got a little bit left. Eva? Going once, going twice?
No, this is really important. This is good conversation. What I wanted to point out here, because I'm going to go through it really quickly because we're doing this in the project readiness and through the TAC. But when we look at the very top, we were at 263% of our allocation. So we were still above the 200% threshold. The 200% threshold is what we're really tracking and monitoring because that's what's at risk. When we get down to 2020, we're at 300%. 321%, 345%, and by 2023, we have 411.9%. So that's more than 4 years of allocation that we've been carrying. Now, to speed through this, you've heard we're getting ready for a fall assessment and decision will be made in the winter. So we're preparing a plan, we're strategizing, and these numbers are going to be changing. But we saw that the estimates from TxDOT's assessment was 25.14, again, construction only. So we need to have a conversation about, are we obligating 26 or are we obligating 25? After the project readiness meetings, we've moved some projects around. So everything in purple is the revised amount. And by moving Nolana Loop up and Liberty Boulevard, by advancing those projects, we've moved from 25.14 million to 50 million. We've doubled our utilization. So that, thank you to those project managers. and for all the paperwork and for the TxDOT staff that have also helped to ensure make this happen. What we see through the change of the past estimate was where we were at 374%, we've been able to reduce that to 297%. Now that is still 97% over the carryover threshold. And so the 97% equates to about 31.83 million. Now, if you remember before, we were at risk of like transferring 57 million. Now it's 31 million. So we're on track. You can see in green, good, good, good. We're increasing utilization. We're decreasing carryover. It gets really tricky as we look through this year by year. So this was from March. We've made some changes. This is the revised 2025 scheduled project list. We have our amount in construction only. We're going to revise this to include all phases. But in another year, we're only 41% exceeding the carryover. Now, that is about 13.55 million instead of 57 million. It's kind of interesting because we decrease utilization, but again, we're doing the math. The math is mathing, and we're seeing results. And by the time we get to fiscal year 26, we've everything in solid line. We're already moving to advancing to fiscal year 24, 25, 25. Tentatively speaking, we might be pushing these back to later in the years to be realistic about our projections. We kept them in, I think we kept them in the revised list. And what we're seeing is that we're still going to monitor 2 of these projects to see where they end up, if they advance or if they stay. But we kind of have a new estimate here from 144 million to 71%. Now you're thinking, oh my God, that's a lot less utilization. But we actually, through the year's worth, are able to get this under the 200% threshold. And I did want to correct my math. This is the wrong number. It's actually negative 20%. But the rest of the math is correct. I've triple checked it. And this saves us, or like we would still have about $24.92 million. So by fiscal year 26, we're on track to get under the 200% threshold. What we have to do is continue working with the Fin Division, continue working with our fire district partners, and continue working with our project managers and RPICs to successfully get under the 200% threshold. And that is the last of my slides. The rest of them, they're kind of in the outer years. We're monitoring them, but we don't have those estimates because they're going to be moving.
So the action that you're asking us today is to approve the
ability
to move the money.
I kind of put it in possible action in case you want to do that, but you don't technically need to take action. It's in case you have some directive you'd like to give us. But if you, otherwise, this is informative and we're on track, I think. Any other questions? I hope that was informative and everyone understands kind of the situation we're in.
Well, it's actually better news showing that we're under that 200%.
That we can get there. I think we can do it. I think we can get there.
Frank, did you?
Sorry, Mr. Parker.
Do we have the same kind of spending rules with the state, like what they're allocating to us and they're gonna take money back from us?
So we're under the gun too, Frank, to deliver projects. We're looking here at category 7. Category 2 for us internally. Category 2 is federal dollars approved by the MPO for on-system projects. So we typically do the on-system projects and we're under the same pressures to deliver. And so we've had some major carryovers as well. Like we've all said in the past, right away utilities are eating our lunch. We're trying to do a much better job in that arena.
Okay, so at this point, I think maybe the idea is to not take any action today, unless anybody has some strong feelings towards taking action. Otherwise, thank you, Eva.
Thank you.
Item D, discussion and action for approval of federal functional classification requests of, state loops, 195 projects, phase 1 and 2. Time for glasses.
Alrighty, good afternoon. We have 2 requests. These are coming from TxDOT, and they're both for State Loop 195, and these are both in Starr County. So these are to serve as a relief route between Rio Grande City and the city of Roma in Starr County. So we have two separate requests. So there's two different resolutions for these for moving forward. And the first one is on page 170 of your packet. There's a map there that shows the phase one of the project now up on the screen. That's segment one. So that's the first request, which is from FM 3167 to FM 755. And then the second phase is on page 184. He's navigating. There it is. Okay, that's still segment one. There we go. So that's segment two. So that's the second request, which is from 649 to FM 3167. So these are both being requested as rural principal arterials. And these are coming from TxDOT. So we have the majority of the information that's needed to produce a packet. And of course, we will be following the same procedure as with all FC requests. We'll go first from the MPO to put the packet together, get everything ready, pass it on to the FAR TxDOT district, and then TPP, and then off to FHWA. And it comes back the same way with a hopeful approval. So it's up for requesting action for approval on this item to proceed.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by TxDOT. I'll even give the second to Stark County. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. E. ESRI, or S3, the S3 user
Yes, sir.
conference out-of-state travel request.
Yes, so this is the ESRI annual conference. It's been some time since we've sent staff to this, and this is geared towards GIS. So we have three currently GIS staff members within the MPO that are going to be attending this conference. We actually had four before, but recently we had Miss Melanie Rodriguez who got promoted to be a planner two. So she's now a full-time planner two. She's no longer, she used to be a GIS one / planner, but now she's a planner two. So therefore there's three members that'll be going, which is Miguel, Fernando, and Alma. So we're requesting out-of-state travel for the three of them to attend this conference, and it's in San Diego, and it's 3 days, I believe, and it's various subject matter that's coming up and becoming the overall new processes for GIS with ESRI. There's a couple of advancements that we have to actually implement within our office that we haven't actually acquired and been able to get to, but hopefully this will allow us to move forward and implement these new MPO, the new GIS softwares.
Any questions? Anybody else want to go? No? We got a motion by Stark County. Second by Hidalgo County RMA. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. All same sign.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. Enjoy your, learn a lot. Item 5, presentations and reports. A, presentation and discussion regarding active transportation media awareness campaigns, education and encouragement. Eva.
All right. This is a follow-up and in anticipation of May, which is National Walk Month and National Bike Month. This is something that came out of the December 2020 Active Transportation Plan that we adopted here at the RGVMPO. We have 3 key goals, and there's 5 areas of success, one of them being education and encouragement initiatives. And 2 of those initiatives, one is Walk and Bike Month and promoting the actual month and all the events. And then the media awareness campaign to kind of talk more about safety, but also our infrastructure itself and promote that. So I wanted to show you some resources, and we've already been meeting with some staff, which is exciting. But the Rails to Trails Conservancy, which is a national nonprofit, they lead Celebrate Trails Days, and I really enjoy the metrics and the infographics that they are able to produce from their activities. So they're able to document how many activities they have throughout the nation. We could monitor on a regional level how many partners are engaged and how many participants also participate. And there's an impact to this outside of getting great, quotes. I think we can actively track physical activity time. We can actively track, time spent outdoors or on the trails that we're investing in. I think this would be really great to produce because there are so many benefits to trails, and I think the more we promote them, the more we can see those benefits coming. And it's not just stress level, mental, and physical health, but there's also some other economic numbers that we could justify. So when there's like a trail, I know like in Atlanta, they have the Atlanta Beltline and they have like breweries along the trail, and they have different like, bike to your taco place or the taco trail, or, your bike ride and brew instead of, it's safer than other options. But there's lots of activities to monitor. There's also partner toolkits. So this is all clickable if you're looking at your packet online or from your seat on your phone. You could click on the PDF itself, and this will take you to the website where that partner toolkit is located. And they have everything from customizable templates and promotional graphics. The League of American Bicyclists, they're the ones that really promote Bike Month. They have great banners, they have posters, with it being in the election time, bike to vote, bike to your barbecue, very Texas appropriate, bike to your farmer's market. It's a great activity on the weekends, cute little date, and then there's like other things that they're encouraging to promote Bike Month. It is a month long, but there's Ride with the Mayor, the Open Streets events. I know Brownsville's having a Ciclovia, an Open Streets event, May 24th. And I know we're hoping to plan some social ride as well. I really like the graduation parade. I know in Brownsville, Sam Stadium is right next to the Belden Trail. So I thought that was really cute. I plan to be biking to work on Bike to Work Week, but there's also Bike to School Day, and I love the little bike buses. If you are able to, there's proclamations to just announce National Bike Month in your community, and there's a fun little game that you could get through the League of American Bicyclists. It's Bike Month Bingo, and so if you invite a friend on a bike ride, you can click the bingo mark. If you do this, so sometimes people want to give away like water bottles or water packs, different hats or swag, as people engage and participate in that. For school specifically, there's a lot of materials for bike, walk, and roll to school. You can register your event if you are on a board or if you know people directly related to a school that's particularly walkable or bikeable. American Hiking Society also has National Trails Days, and they have a whole guide. And again, I really liked, because May the 4th be with you, and May the 4th. But they also have Walk This May, which I thought was cute. Cute little hashtags to promote it. I think these are the type of things that are encouraging and also increase education. There's some webinars for your team. I really liked the Instagram before and after, and it's true. It looked a lot more attractive than the before. And then if you don't want to, if May is too soon and you're not ready to plan for 2025, there's other activities. We talked about, Diabetes Month. I think the campaign toolkit is for November, but we want to encourage physical activity, walking, biking, time spent on the trails out there. And that is really, I think, like the Walk and Bike Month promotion and the campaign. But we have been talking internally too about getting our existing data online for the user, the end user. And we know we're planners, we're engineers, we're technical, we're not great at the communications piece, and that marketing is specific. So we have a very technical map right now. I know in Cameron County, Cara Cara Trails has a project manager, and that project manager is working on making web pages dedicated to their trails. But there's also they also have an Instagram where they promote, kayaking or yoga in the park. They're out at the outreach events when they give away t-shirts or when they give away stickers and stuff. Sometimes they have photography contests. So that's something that I think we could incorporate also. And the last thing we really talked about was walking and biking maps. This is part of the active tourism, but we've talked a little bit internally. One of the suggestions at TAC was that we do a story maps on our existing trails to kind of tell people where to park, where the restrooms are, what destinations are nearby. And I think that that's really fun. As someone who likes to go visit trails, but maybe I'm not as familiar with Mission, where do I park in Mission? Where can I go eat nearby? What other activities or museums might be in the area that I'd like to enjoy while I'm there? So we are talking about developing story maps for the actual marketing and promotion of our trails. So again, we're hoping to get a media person on staff at some point, but with the GIS team as well, we're looking into starting a story map for trails. But that is the end of my presentations. Are there any questions related to this campaign, this item? Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Evan. 5B update on RGVMPO Executive Director selection process. I'm guessing Manny. Mr. Cruz.
Policy board members, just a quick update on where we stand in the hiring process. As you know, back last year, sometime long time ago, the policy board assigned a hiring committee to be part of the hiring process, and that was Commissioner Fuentes, Judge Trevino, Mayor Garza from Edinburgh, Pete from TxDOT, and Mayor Cowan. So we've been meeting on and off. Last meeting that we've had took place on March the 7th. At that point in time, it was decided to extend the application process to the end of March. And so therefore, we went ahead and extended the opening till March 31st. At that point in time, the position closed, and we had a total of 12 applicants on board. And in the same process, we were also have been trying to get approval from TxDOT and FHWA to use TxDOT or to use RGVMPO funds for the purpose of hiring a firm, a recruiting firm, to look for the next executive director for the MPO. And so on March 20th, we received information or request that we needed to provide some justification. So I went ahead and drafted a letter, page and a half of justification, and send it over to TxDOT for further review and FHWA. So I want to say on April 8th, we received a preliminary verbal approval, and we're still waiting for confirmation, written approval, so we can continue for the process. As of April the 18th, which was a couple of days ago, we are currently awaiting the review and approval of our procurement process on how we're going to go about securing the firm. So, and again, in conjunction with that, we've been researching. We have found a couple of firms that are state by board contracts that are very versed in taking this on, and so, but we're currently waiting to receive approval on our procurement process, and so that's up to now. That's the update that I have for the board. Any questions?
Anybody? Any questions? I know it's a timely process, but I think we'll get a, deeper and better quality pool of applicants, which is, what we've kind of been waiting for. So thank you for looking into that. Just keep us posted on the progress of that. And once you get approval so that we can take some action on it.
Yes, once we get approval, I'll convene with the hiring committee once again and provide them with information. And I would like some guidance from you all on what route we take, whether it's through buy board, which is the quickest, easiest process, or RFP to solicit the firms. So
You need that direction today, or are you gonna come back for that?
I'd rather meet with the hiring committee once I have, because we already have the list of those firms. And if we decide to go that route, I would want for you to review ahead of time, and we can bring it before this board and select the firm.
Okay, yeah, we don't have any action today.
No actions.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Manny. 5C, RGVMPO Executive Director's Report and Updates. Mr. Diaz.
Yes, okay, so going over the budget real quick, which is on page 225 of your packet. We're actually well within budget. We've expended so far 697,690, which the amount that should have been spent was 1,062,260. So we're well within budget. That covers the budget. I did want to share also, I did share with the chair and vice chair that for next month, sorry, I do have some personal things going on. My wife and I are actually expecting our third son, so I'm going to be out intermittently throughout the month of May. We're expected right now for a delivery date of May 7th. So which means that I'm not going to be in attendance for the technical advisory committee meeting. I've already gotten, and I have to follow up with the chairman, and staff has already been advised as well. We're working on putting an agenda together, so everything should be well in line and to continue with my absence for the technical advisory committee meeting. I should be en route to be back for the policy board meeting for next month. So everything's still moving forward. Of course, my response may be a little delayed, as I'm tending to family matters. But other than that, that's all I wanted to share. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes.
It's an interesting report, man. Congratulations. I'm sure everybody here wishes you a very healthy delivery process for you, your wife, and your family.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Congratulations. Any questions about his baby budget? No, we're good. Name?
Yes.
What's the name?
The name right now is Jason Rafael.
Very nice. Great name.
Thank you.
Item D, TxDOT project status report.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katia Navra, and I work in the fire area office. I'm gonna give you some updates on three projects on Hidalgo County. So the first project is FM 1015. The project goes from mile 9 all the way to 2.5 miles south of I-2. This project is broken into two sections. So we have two contractors. On the north side, we have RIM Construction. The estimated completion time for that one is April 2025, and we are at 5% completion. The south portion, we have Texas Cordia Construction. The estimated completion time is August 2025, and we are at 12%. And so this is the north section, and then we have the south section. Here, this picture is from the north side. The contractor is RIM Construction again, and they're working on the line treating the subgrade. And another picture of the contractor line treating the subgrade. This is close to the I-2 intersection. And this picture was taken from the south side. Texas Cordia is paving close to 18th Street. And then on this one, Texas Cordia was repairing a 18-inch RCP pipe. So the next project is FM 676. The project goes from SH 364 all the way to 107. We are at 30% completion, and the estimated completion time is December 2025. On this picture, you can see the complete irrigation crossing. And on this one, you can see Texas Cordia working on paving operations of the first lift. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard Villarreal, and I'll be giving a project update on behalf of the TxDOT San Benito Area Office. The project is for I-69 ramp reversal. This project is located in Harlingen, and the limits for this project are from Industrial Boulevard to Loop 499. The scope of this project is for the northbound and southbound ramp reversal, and the contractor on this project is Foremost Paving, with the 57% completion, and it's estimated completed to be by December 2024. On this image, we can see the contractor working on the southbound on-ramp. They are working on cement treating the subgrade. And on this image, we can see the contractor working on the northbound frontage road, which on this one, they're working on the flex base cement treating it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rolando Escamilla. I come from the FAR District Bridge Section Design Support, and I'll be updating on SH 107 today, as CSJ 034202056 in Hidalgo County. It goes from La Villa to Santa Rosa. Right now, it's expected to be a CE document, which is in progress. For right-of-way, we're going to expect to acquire right-of-way for this one, about 5 parcels. We're anticipating utility conflicts as well. Right now, the PS&E is in progress and being done by TxDOT, currently in the H&H design phase. and we are anticipating a letting of August 2029. The construction estimate right now is somewhere in the 24 millions, and the scope for this is to do a full bridge replacement with about 150 foot of roadway approaches, and right now we're conducting the scour analysis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Salvador Aranda with the FAR District. So this is a Business 77 bridge replacement over the Saca Los Fresnos. The scope of work is the full replacement, changing from 50-foot bridge to a 300-foot bridge. Environmental is being done as a CE document. Minimal right-of-way acquisitions anticipated. Parallel utilities are AEP, Spectrum, Texas Gas. No conflicts are anticipated. PS&E is in progress. That's being done in-house. Letting date is January 2026. There. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna start again. So it's Business 77. Environmental is expected to be a CE document. Right-of-way acquisitions minimal. Anticipated utilities. Adjacent utilities are AP, telephone, water, AT&T, Texas Gas. PS&E is in progress. Design is being done in-house. Letting date August 2026. The estimate is it's approximately 7 million. Like I said, limits are over the Saca Los Fresnos. We're going from a 50-foot bridge to a 300-foot bridge with 150 feet of approaches. And that's about it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Rosas, also with the FAR District. And for this one, this is going to be FM 2556, the drainage structures. We have 5 different structures along the FM 2556 road. And we're going to be replacing those 5 locations with wider bridges due to an expansion of the Hidalgo drainage. So we want to widen that area to allow for more capacity to flow. The scope of the work is to construct drainage features. Can't see that far, sorry. Construct drainage features that consist of channel excavation and reshaping of crossings. We're at about a 90% PSNE. We are working currently we're working with US IBWC to work on comments so we can get that package ready, since we will be doing some work along their levee. And we have a current letting estimate of January 2026. We are expecting the environmental to be a CE document, and it's currently in progress. We are expecting no right-of-way acquisition. We have some utility conflicts with Spectrum, Texas Gas, and AEP. We've actually just met with them yesterday for the most part, and we are working those issues out to have that done by, our estimate is to be done by July of this year. And we have an estimated cost of around 7 million. Does anyone have any questions? We will be replacing the 5 locations. And that is it.
So just a quick comment, update on the interchange project. We're still scheduled for summer of this year for substantial completion. I do want to take a moment and recognize and thank our project engineers and our engineering assistants. You noticed we had a little bit of a transition issue there. These folks are going through a process, succession planning as we speak. We've had some turnover at TxDOT, just like everybody else has had some turnover. And we're getting the next generation of engineers ready. So I want to thank them and recognize them for their presentations this afternoon.
Awesome. Congratulations, Pete, and good luck to you, young engineering professionals. Any questions on the TxDOT report? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item 6, other business, old and new, and establishing the next meeting date. Luis? Any old or new business or anything? So at this point in time, it looks like our next policy meeting is going to be on May 29th at 1:30, normal time. Last Wednesday of the month. Okay, anybody have any announcements, new or old business? Well, hopefully your baby isn't born during the Canelo fight, but if he is,
It's a possibility.
may,
Not out of the
may,
question.
may the fourth be with him too, right?
Thank you, sir.
You guys have, it is, there being no further business, it's 2:21 and we'll adjourn this meeting. Have a great one, guys.